And we're live, guys. We are here for Turn Back the Clock, episode 24. Special guest, YouTube Sports Card Hall of Famer, Vince, NY Yanks Fan 7, best name on YouTube. How's it going, Vince?
It's going well, Adam. Thanks for inviting me along. I know we've been trying for, 6-7 months?
Yeah.
Do
it's
something.
my fault. It's your fault. It's what are you going to do?
Dude, I almost thought I couldn't make it tonight. That's how crazy it was. But
I was starting to worry. You just showed up. I was just starting to worry you weren't going to make it.
Here I am. You guys got me. So
and you don't do a lot of these live streams. I mean, I've seen like you do one with Silver Jackify once in a while, but not lately.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't just do a lot of YouTube in general in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I think I might do like 3 videos a month, if you look at my history.
Yeah.
Just not a lot. I don't have much to talk about, but I do try to keep my channel going with a little bit of a pulse. So every once in a while I'll show up with a new video. I think next up for me is going to be like the year-end sort of review. I debated doing it, but I've been doing it for like 10, 11 years now. I'd feel remiss if I didn't do it again, even though it might seem like a rerun.
No way. It's really enjoyable. That's like when you show your stuff, it's insane. And the way yours fluctuates the prices of a lot of your cards, because you're not just vintage, you're modern, you've got everything. You even have I don't know if you put NES games in there yet, but maybe you should add a couple of those this year.
Well, so I have some graded games. Only they were from my collection that I carried forever. And
okay.
I did sell off like a bunch of nice ones during COVID. Before that market segment kind of blew up. But I retained a few and I sent some to CGC. So I would say in the video, I'm not going to buy any more video games. I'm not going to buy any. I'm not going to buy any, but I do have probably my best piece might be the 9.8 Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. And it's the last licensed game for the Wii U, because that's when the Switch came out. I think that particularly like 7 years ago. But no, they're cool and all. And I do have some, in hindsight, I probably should have held on to a few of the games that I let go, but whatever, you get over it,
So did those prices tank like the rest of things?
Yeah.
Collectible world? Okay.
Yep. I thought I was doing myself a favor by pivoting to comic books around early 2021. And the same thing happened with comic books. Up they went and crashing down they came. Even cards still are going down, I noticed it's not a bad time to maybe kind of start buying some of the stuff that maybe you're just, got at your price point, a couple of years ago. I actually updated my spreadsheet for my collection. I do it like every 6 months, give or take. And so I went through and I did the first couple of cases of cards. And my gosh, the lost on paper value from what they were, even just since like July or August, is dramatic. But whatever, I'm not selling. I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm still way ahead based on what I bought these things for anyway. So someday I'll let my son worry about it,
Yep.
So I can't take him with me. Right. So.
Yeah, I love anytime you do a video. I love watching them because one of the best collections I've ever seen. But first, I'm going to say it's a little how we always say overlooked, undervalued with like players and stuff. I think your collection is a little overlooked. A lot of people know it, but in the grand scheme of things, you have some of the best cards I've ever seen, and you got a lot of them before this boom that we were just in.
I did do a lot of buy-in, like around 16, 17, 18. I did a lot of 4 Sharp Corner stuff, PSA 10 80s favorites. I did some vintage. I regret not doing more vintage when I could have. But, I just, as I've gotten older, the financial wherewithal has gotten a little bit better to do such things, right? When I was building my mantle collection out, 15 plus years ago, I was where what the grades that I have are, that was what I could afford at that time, I just, did I get lucky? I did buy a lot of things, but I did buy some turds too. You got to take the you got to take the losses and the gut punches along the way. I mean, I did buy a Zion Williamson for like $600, you know. But you know, I just yeah, I mean, I like collecting, but I will say this: I haven't bought much in a while, and going forward, I feel like, you know, I do watch YouTube and people talk about their stuff and their collections. I'm more like kind of moving towards the sort of the less is more. Maybe not buying this, that, but taking whatever that would have cost and just putting it towards a bigger card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where my collection's going. I mean, I'm 50 now. I turned 50 this year. And in my mind, I have it that I feel like, okay, if by the time I'm 60, let's say, you know, 10 years, if my son, who'll be 15, if he's not into this at all, then I'll slowly start whittling away. I mean, I can talk to Joe. So, yeah, we got to get a table at like a local card show and just get load of this, you know, try to unload some of our excess inventory we don't care about anymore, you know. And then that may be in the future, you know, just setting up a table somewhere and just selling off some stuff and, you know, get what you get. But yeah, I'm kind of changing my collecting habits a little bit. And I notice a lot of other people are too. I've heard a lot of people mention that. They talk about hobby burnout, not necessarily burnt out. But yeah, I guess you get older, things change a little bit. Your scope changes a little bit. So, you know, occasionally I'll catch myself looking at a Drew Thorpe Bowman Chrome Auto Yankees prospect. That's like, yeah, do I really want to do this? You know, because I've got examples of doing that, and then none of them worked out. You know,
Yeah.
So it's fun to play it as a game. Like, this is fun. Let me see if I can do this and see if I win on paper with this. But it's like, you know what? I'll save my money and put it towards maybe a nice vintage card or something.
Well, Lou's thinking maybe you'll adopt him if your son doesn't get into it. He's happy. He'll inherit it. That's no problem.
Right, well, all right. He's got first crack at the adoption process.
But we've done that too. I know, Dylan, you have. I've sold a lot of cards this year. A lot of, you know, players that I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a player run of Paul Pierce, you know, Celtics fan, or Kevin Garnett. Just stuff that's kind of out of the wheelhouse that I'm in now. And I'm just like, you know what am I holding on to it for? Let's just sell it, get $50 or $100 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And that adds up. I've sold a lot of cards that I put into some pretty big ones. So yeah, I've been doing the same thing. Yep. Yeah. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. One of the topics I wanted to hit on is this year, you know, we're at the end of the year. This will probably be the last turn back the clock of the year. So I want to show. I have a couple massive pickups, massive for me at least. Dylan, I know you're gonna go nuts for one of these, but I like to do this thing where I buy cards and I just never show anyone for a while. I let them marinate. So I got a couple real big ones. We're not talking 52 mantle big ones here, but you know they're good. They're good cards. So I want to show some of those. Those were picked up in 2023, and then if you guys, whatever you have from this year or whatever you want to show, we'll show some. Oh, there we go, baby.
Right.
There's the case.
Just in case. No pun intended.
And then we're going to talk.
Yeah, look at those.
Yeah, baby. I love when you open that. And then we're going to look at the year ahead and, you know, some pickups we're targeting, some big stuff we might be having our eye on, shows we might look at. So anything that we want to talk about in that regards. But let me kick it, you know, should I slow roll this further, or can I show this card now?
I want to see the card.
All right, I got to show it. All right. So, yeah, I picked this up. This was much earlier in the year, months and months ago. Maybe the best pack pulled. I'm not a huge autograph guy.
Oh, I know what it is.
This could be the best pack pulled autograph card of all time. Maybe.
Dude, absolutely, that's the best pack pulled autograph of all time.
You pulled that out of a pack?
No, I bought. I wish, but I bought it. So there it is, the triple auto.
Dude, you did it.
Mantle, Musial, Yastrzemski. There we go.
Is that number to 500? 500, yeah. Right?
Yeah, on the back there.
You didn't show this? I could have sworn I've seen this card. Or where would I have seen it?
It's a famous card, but
I did a video on
No one
on
has
it,
one.
I
I've
think a
seen
while back, but I didn't have it. I bought it after that.
Okay. That's
But,
probably what I'm thinking.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Congrats,
that's
Adam.
one
That's-
that it's expensive card, but I always wanted to get that card, so I finally pulled the trigger. Yeah, there we go.
What year is that from?
It's a 92 score, the franchise, triple auto. So just the thought of like all three of those guys had the card and signed, and like, how did the hell did that happen? You know,
I never even seen that card before until I think whenever it was you showed it, talked about it like a few months
really,
ago.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I just remember like opening all those score packs, shooting for shoot. I would have just been happy with one of the single player auto cards, you know, but the triple was like insane to think about.
They printed so much of that score that opened 92 score is still rarer than sealed 92 score.
Right.
That's how much of it's out there.
And the funny thing is, I bet a lot of these are still in boxes in warehouses and who knows where, or they were thrown out. But there's just so much, you know, so much still out there that those cards are probably just sitting there. A lot of them. Put
it back up.
Oh, okay.
We'll go triple.
Oh, geez.
Man, that's awesome.
From the same, you guys have the same 92 score. This is the first time I'm aware of these cards outside of when Adam talked about the three here.
See, they did a single of each guy, like where they had an auto of each guy, and then they did the triple, all on one card there too.
What was the DiMaggio? I remember did they do DiMaggio one year? Am I confusing it with
Mantle? That was 91, I think. They did DiMaggio autographs, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't even know that. Really?
Yeah, so Mantle was the score year by himself, and then there was a DiMaggio too. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yep. That's insane.
Yep.
I wasn't really collecting during that period. I kind of exited, you know, late 80s up until about 1990 was when my first block of collecting time. And then I left the market or left the hobby, and I re-entered it maybe 7 years, maybe during the McGuire Sosa home run chase. I kind of got back into a little more. And then since then it's been, you know, so 20 some odd years, 25 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like if that card feels way more important if you were like a kid during that period opening packs, you know, if you were active in the hobby, just because of how like legendary that card is. But yeah, if you weren't in that time period, it's kind of like, it's cool, you know, triple auto. But
so Adam, we'll add to that story. So that is super special to me because this card, the Yaz from that set, my friend pulled one back in 1991 when we were 11 years old at his birthday party. It was in the grab bag, just a pack of score. And he pulled one and he pinned it to his wall. And I've talked to him since, you know, 30 plus years ago. And so I mean, that card you just showed is on my bucket list one day to have.
What's the print run on that? Is there a print run? Like I numbered out of what?
500 on that one.
500. Yep.
Okay. So it's like, you know, a card comes out now where there's numbered to 500. It's like, that's pretty rare. But like, they just made so many boxes, and the pack odds are like 1 in a bazillion, you know, to get
right. Bowman Chrome refractors are 1 out of 499, I think, right? Yes. So that's like the high print run,
right? Which like kids now, if a card number to 500, they just throw it away. You know, like screw that.
So,
dude, that's awesome. All right, Vince, what do you got, man?
So we're talking a lot about stuff and probably going to talk about end of year video. So that definitely will be like a rerun when I air it on my channel. But if you want to talk about this year's stuff, I have, what do I have here? This year, I got this one.
Oh, wow. Ty Cobb.
This one with the polar bear.
Polar bear. Those are like the best backs, right?
I don't know. I don't really, when it comes to T206, I don't really care about the back. I know that's kind of like a thing for some T206 collectors. I just wanted a nicely centered version of this card, whether it was Sweet Caporal or Pima or whatever. But in this case, it was polar bear. So I had to pay a little bit of that polar bear premium to secure this. But they don't get much.
Is that what do they call it? What does that say on the label? Bat or?
It's the bat off shoulder. It's one of 4 cobs, right? So. Gotcha. That's the bat off. I've got the bat on also, which was a purchase, several years ago. I don't know where it is in here, but and this was speaking of cop, this also was this year. This one right here.
Ooh, so what do we got there?
That's a
Oh, the
1922.
caramel.
Yeah, American Caramel.
Wow.
Series of 120. There's some nice Ruth cards as part of this set that I sort of keep an eye on, wishful thinking. But yeah, this is a pretty nice set. And I didn't realize, I didn't know anything about this card until I tell the story where I was looking for something on eBay, and this kind of popped up as like searches that match fewer terms or whatever. And I saw this. I was, oh, this looks really great. So I had to get it. And so I found the seller. When I see something I like on eBay, I always start scouring Instagram. I start looking where the card's located and look at the About Me page. Sometimes I have their store name on their eBay, and I try to go the off eBay route, right?
Yeah. Because
you're going to avoid sales tax. You probably get a little bit better price. And, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I'll send them PayPal, friends and family, and I trust that, they're usually reputable, high feedback. They don't want to tarnish their names. They're not going to screw around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've had good success doing off eBay transactions to circumvent, eBay's taxing, sales tax collection, and then also save a little money. So it can be rather substantial. Some of these cards you save both on the sales tax, and then the seller gives you a little bit less than what he makes a little more than he would off eBay taking their piece, but I end up paying a little less overall. So it's a win-win as long as you trust who you're buying from, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, that's great advice. I just did that on a purchase I just did. I hunted for the guy's phone number and did exactly what you said. Found out he had a shop, and you save a ton of money.
Yeah, Instagram is a good resource for that too. In fact, those two cobs were bought from the same seller. The American Caramel was purchased several months ago, and then the Cobb Bad Off was purchased, I think, September-ish. So, and that actually is I think it's the last card I purchased. So yeah, I mean, time flies. I can't believe it's already been 3 months. But I haven't really bought much overall this year, like in years past. If you look at some of my year in review videos, I sometimes go back and watch. I'm like, geez, what the hell am I doing? And I had like, all these slabs, and I was like, why did I buy that? Why did I, but you're just collecting, and it's fun. And then,
and it's funny because prices are lower, so you would think like, oh, we'd be buying the most right now, but
yeah,
I think it's just like the last few years. I know myself, I've bought so many cards that, yeah, I'm kind of just in a point where, I'm not really adding new money to the card budget. I'm just, anything I buy, I'm trying to sell cards to fund that. So I'm nearing the end of this, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, in buying a splurge or whatever. So now I got to kind of take a breath, I think. But I keep saying that, and I don't. So
the good news is eBay. So, there was this thing with it. They're going to start sending you 1099 for anything over $600 of sales, right? And because it was $20,000 or 200 transactions, so you could sell and not have to worry about. But I guess they're not going to do that. I guess the IRS said it's too complicated, it causes too much trouble, too much confusion. So even this year, you're still allowed up to, I think, $20,000. And I think the target selling for 1099 via Venmo or PayPal, whatever, it's going to be like $5,000. So maybe I'd be more inclined to let things go on eBay. I just hate to, once you cross that threshold, now you're into it for, let's say you sell $5,001. Now you're going to 1099, you're going to have to pay what? 28% on that 5,001 because or whatever the tax bracket you're in,
Well,
so
only
eBay,
off your profit of the card, though. I mean, that's if you bought the card for $1,000 and you made $4,000, but you're not. It's a wash if you didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah, and if you have a record of the purchase, I mean, otherwise you're just kind of like saying, well, I paid $500 for it, I'm selling it for $400. Well, what's the proof of that? I see $500 show up in your checking account, and where'd you lose on this? So I'm not a big seller. I've sold a few things here and there, but I mean, as time goes on, as I mentioned, as I get older, and maybe this isn't interesting to members of my family, I might resort to eBay in some cases. And also the same with comic books. I actually just stopped collecting. I stopped subscribing to comics. I used to buy Batman, Justice League, Star Wars, like 4 or 5 titles a month. I go to my comic store, I pick them up. And honestly, for the last 3 years, I pick them up, I bag and board them, I put them in a pile. I haven't read anything. So just last week, I said, look, I'm done. I said, I got to pause it. And now I've got all this mass. I want to reduce mass. And so, you know what I mean? So I got these books. I'm thinking maybe I could like parse these out little by little on eBay over time, just to reduce the amount of mass in my closet. But yeah, that's just kind of, I guess I'm just buying less. And when I do buy, I'm being a lot more selective, specifically with cards and centering and things of that nature. Very, very important. I don't just buy anything anymore, you know. So,
Now
Vince,
you're
let me
language, baby, centering.
yeah.
yeah, let me ask you a question. With the comic book, so I grew up with a friend who was a full comic book collector, and he would go every single week and buy his 5 to 8 comics, and he amassed a collection that wouldn't even fit in our office. He had to rent a whole space. He probably has 100,000 comic books, and he wore gloves as a kid, as a 10-year-old kid, reading the magazines and slid them back in. There's not a lot of value in most of those back then, but probably get at least what he paid. But do you have a collection like that? Do you have like 100,000 comic books? If you're buying them every week, it gets crazy.
So, I don't think I have 100. No, I don't have 100,000. I have them all. I would say I have maybe like 20 short boxes.
Yes,
filled.
the boxes. That's pretty good.
And they all like 100. I have a couple thousand, maybe a few thousand.
Okay.
And I just I've just kind of I got to stop accumulating the stuff. I have CGC comics. I buy graded comics, and I still have it in mind to buy a couple here and there. But accumulating the reading copies and then bagging and boarding and then storing, it's like I'm over it. When I realized I told my comic guy, I said, look, I subscribe to something called Bounty Hunters. It's a Star Wars issue. It's up to like issue 48. I said, I haven't read a single issue of this stuff yet. And this is just one of 5 things that I subscribe to. So I'm like 200 comic book. When the hell do I have time to read that? Adam, you I got time for anything with the kids,
Right.
I'm just changing. I used to collect a lot of different things, and now I'm just kind of like whittling it down to specific sports cards, and maybe even some non-sports cards for that matter. I'm looking at some Star Wars, vintage Star Wars stuff. I started looking at 1940 Superman a little bit, but yeah, just looking, just looking.
Yeah.
So,
what big cards are you targeting for maybe next year? Do you have any in mind?
I have one that I guess would be considered a big card. It's the 1933 DeLong Lou Gehrig.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I was in conversation with somebody about his copy in a PSA 2. I just wasn't ready to spend that kind of coin on it. It was not inexpensive. So, that's one of the bigger cards. But at the same time, I'm targeting stuff like the Churchman Ruth from 1929. Churchman cigarettes, which it doesn't say it's Babe Ruth, but it's Babe Ruth on the card. Right. It's pretty affordable for a playing days.
The horizontal one.
Yeah. Tough to find center, though. I always find it, biased, like either left or right, horizontal. And then 1948 Leaf Sugar Ray Robinson. I really think it's a cool card. I don't have any boxing cards in my collection, so I try to fill it out with some other stuff. What else? There was one other one I'm thinking of. Oh, a 1954 Topps Scoops Babe Ruth. You familiar with that set?
I have that card.
I have that one.
Yeah, it's a cool card.
Yep. They're not that expensive either, really.
No, but again, tough to find centered.
Yes.
And so just waiting until I come across the right copy. So, but I would say the biggest card, Adam, would be like a DeLong Gehrig. But I say that, but I could suddenly turn around and buy a 52 Jackie. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just I wasn't planning on buying probably any of these cards. They just came up, and I got to get that. So I really have a plan, but I never execute the plan properly. We'll see. We'll see what 2024 brings, and we look back on it. But that's probably the biggest card right now in my mind. I would be targeting is that Gehrig.
Dylan, you've had a heck of a year, 2023, massive pickups. Your biggest one just came recently, right? With the DiMaggio?
Yeah,
you can show whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll show it. I'll bring it out. Now, it's funny because Vince was just talking about that, and this card in particular, I brought it up the other night, so I won't go through the whole long story about it. But what the heck did I do with it? I already lost it.
We lost it already.
I already lost it. It's so funny.
LinkedIn Thomas, Rocky Marciano. That's old. Oh, those are the only boxing cards I have. That's where my parents are from, Brockton, Mass, where Rocky was from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a cool card. Yep, the 51.
Oh yeah, I found them. I was looking at there on my desk. I was looking at them all day today. So I've had this card on my watch list since the National because my buddy bought one, and I held it, and I was like, I didn't even know I could afford that card. It was never on my list because I just never thought it was possible because I never looked at it, you know. And the second I held that, I'm like, okay, I want one. I had been watching this one for 6 months, left plenty of offers. He never replied. Finally, I did a little digging, got his phone number, called the shop, and then had him send me a video. And I got the Joe DiMaggio 1938 Gaudi. Now it's not perfectly centered, and I'm a huge centering guy, but I only saw one of these that I really wanted since the National that went at auction, and it was a centered copy. I don't think the colors were as good as this one, but it went for like a ridiculous sum, like 10 grand. So this card to me really pops, and it's my favorite card in my collection, hands down now. Yeah. So, and I got, it was $3,200. I'll say what I paid. I don't really care. $3,200 off eBay. Didn't have to pay taxes on it or anything, and there we go. So,
what was the one that sold for a lot? What was the grade on it?
PSA 3.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane. It was the eye appeal just took it up to the stratosphere because I was gonna put a bid on it, and it just went nuts. And it looked like this one. This is a 3.
Okay, now Dylan, with that, so with the blue border there, the centering is real noticeable on that card, and obviously you have great centering. But on your DiMaggio, you can't even really tell.
It's not nearly as noticeable. That's probably another reason my eye didn't detract.
It doesn't bother me at all. That's an awesome copy, man. Look at the coloring and the it's perfect on the
image. The image is stunning. It's absolutely one of the best copies I've seen in my where I could afford it. So yeah, just had to have it, and the back looks really good too. So man, yeah, I'm over the moon. It hasn't left my desk. I don't want to put it away yet. Just stoked. So that's my plan for the coming year too. I want to keep collecting these big boy cards. And like you, Vince, I was buying high grades, not as high as you back in the day. I was buying 7s and 8s back in 99 until now. And so I sold all those off, not all of them, but all the stuff that wasn't perfectly centered. I sold all that off this last year and a half. And I got good money because those were still up there. Those higher grades, I mean, I'm pretty much out of them now. Now I'm just recycling stuff that I already purchased that doesn't hit my eyes now as the same. So I'm lucky I kind of escaped like that section because all those cards that I sold to me have come down because the eye appeal wasn't there for the grade. And I was able to buy lower grade stuff that looks really good. And it's held its ground. Like I could sell them. The stuff I'm selling now, I'm getting more than I paid. And that was during the peak when I was buying it because it was lower grade, good eye appeal, but some of them aren't making my cut. But I'm having a blast. And I want to sell more stuff. Every time I go through my collection, I find stuff that I have attachments to. But I'm like, I don't need it. When I get another one, I forget about that copy and I'm videoing them before they leave. So the cardboard itself, it's like, even if I had it for 25 years in the slab, I never really touched the card. Time to let it go. And I'm just stacking that account up in eBay and I'm way above the threshold for taxes, but I did taxes last year on cards. I'm already been doing that for years. So I don't worry about selling a big card because if you sell a big card, most likely to paid for it, it is what it is. There's tons of ways, and it's a business now for me too, so I can write off all kinds of different things in the card space. Yeah. So yeah, that's my plan too, man. I gotta keep narrowing my focus down. I don't need more. I need better.
Yeah, I think I've been seeing or listening to a lot of people with a similar perspective or approach going forward. decluttering or consolidating, or I'm hearing those terms, myself included. So somebody made a comment about the mark. I think the MK qualifier is a great qualifier to get. I mean, I got the MK on mine.
Yeah.
Right. And so you say, well, where's the mark? And it's just this little, where is it? This there on the bottom here. Right. But it's on the back of the card. It just looks like a smudge. And I bought it a long time ago. I bought it. In fact, I probably paid what you paid for that, 1.5, Dylan. That's how long ago it was.
That's insane. That's sick.
That's
of
awesome.
course you had that card. I love it. I think I've probably seen yours before in the video.
Probably had. And another pickup from this year, also with the MK qualifier, is this guy.
I remember seeing that one.
Yeah.
34 Cody Lou Gehrig.
Now, Vince, I love that you go after the marking ones. Now, I'm a huge fan of PSA putting the donations of OC and the MKs because you know what you're looking for. You know what you're trying to find the mark on it. You're trying to find the ST, the stain. And if you can't see it or it's so small, whereas SGC, it's a 2, you're guessing. It doesn't say that it's a mark. There's a mark. And it's really, to me, the OC, MK, the stain, man, I used to hunt. I didn't hunt the marks down, but I will in the future. I'm leaning towards, I don't have a card of the mark on it yet, but once I get one, it's like you get comfortable with certain things, right? I have a pinhole card now, so yeah.
I love pinhole cards. I take pinhole cards all day.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people know that and they keep them. They don't. Right. Right. Is there a pinhole on that one?
Yeah, 2 pinholes.
Woo, look at that. Damn.
But it looks good, right?
Beautiful.
It's what helps you afford, like for example, the Gehrig. I couldn't even find the mark on the Gehrig. It's somewhere on the back. It's like maybe a erased pencil, but it kept the price point it kept it lower than if it were a straight 3, right? Yeah. So that's where I've kind of, I guess, in the past I'd be like, I would never buy a PSA 1. I'm not going to buy anything with a qualifier. But, I've come around in the last couple of years that, I think eye appeal will transcend the grade that the card has on the slab in a lot of cases. And that's what I try to focus on, eye appeal to transcend the technical grade. And it's fun to find those. It's not easy. Yeah. But you pay more. I mean, you're going to pay more. Yeah. You might pay a grade up, but you won't pay what the grade if it was in the absence of a qualifier, right? So, like that Jody's a PSA 5 cardboard all day. It has that smudge. It's got the MK qualifier. I guess you price it as a PSA 3. I don't know, I don't know. So,
yeah. I think I feel like we're on the same trajectory. Yeah. Obviously, your stuff's way gnarlier than mine, but the eye appeal is really. I haven't been on YouTube that long. That's all new for me because my wife started looking at my cards once I got on YouTube and was like, dude, all your cards are off center.
Yeah,
you're right. They are. And then YouTube, I follow Matty C on Instagram. He's the guy that really pushed it from my mind, that flipped the switch. Switch in my mind. Showing just like a 72 tops, Nolan Ryan, an 8 versus a 4, and literally his 4 would look better. And the 8's $800 and the 4 is $80. And you're just like, to me, why wouldn't I be doing that on the bigger cards too? And so, it changed everything. YouTube helped out tremendously.
Vince, a big fan club in the comments. You're a legend. Did you know that? All these guys, they're like, Vince is my favorite.
For sure.
Full disclosure, guys. I can't see anything on the screen.
Oh, okay.
No, and I could see the text. My eyes are blurry. Like I'm tired, and so even with my progressive lenses, I'm looking down. But Matt wrote Rambo: Last Blood with Stallone. Do you know that, Dylan?
No. Oh yeah, I did know that. I
heard that too on one of his interviews.
He's like a gnarly. Yeah, isn't that insane?
He's a screenwriter. Yeah,
it's crazy, right? Yeah. That's what gave me even more impression. Like he has. I guess I don't know, but he has money. He has a huge collection, but he still chose to go after lower grade, good looking cards, even in the smaller stuff. Dude, you got that card to me. I saw that on your channel. I was just like, oh, that is the best looking one ever.
I mean, how is that? Come on, man. That's beautiful.
Well,
yeah.
So here's the
thing.
There
you go. Well,
yeah. This was, I remember I came up because I've been looking for this cart for years, like literally years. And COVID, it escaped my budget during COVID, right? It just shot up. The closest I ever got was I tried to work a deal with Levi at 707. He had a PSA 3 that was on eBay. And the thing about back then, before COVID, you go to 707, he'd have like a date stamp on the card image. And literally it had been set there like 7 years. Right. Like it was like, copyright 2012. Here it is, 2018. And it's still there. And I reached out about a cash deal, and he countered at something. It was like $29.75 personal check, and I was like, I thought, and then it was gone. So I slept on it too long. This one wasn't a BVG slab, so And my goal is like, I'm gonna buy that, and I'm gonna crack that out and send it to PSA.
I remember when you did that.
Me too.
Fortunately, the auction ended at like a 1:17 p.m. on a Tuesday Eastern time. People are at work. So I got a decent price on it, and cracking it out was a little bit dicey. The BGSs are very, very, they're like big thicks of lucite slabs, and but
they shatter though. They do shatter.
They do shatter, and you gotta be careful. And fortunately, the card is a smaller card, and it's inside of a sleeve, like a Mylar pocket, so that helps. But successfully cracked that out. I thought I might have a chance at a 0.5 bump because I have other cards with paper loss that have a 1.5 grade, but that I think grading's harsher now at PSA. Is that the way it is? It's harder grading now, so whatever. It's a 1. I don't care. It looks great for a 1, and
looks insane.
But it's almost like BVG slabs were made to be cracked out because they're strong, but they got that inner sleeve that protects the card.
They're not that strong. The only ones I've ever had break in the mail have been BVGs and BGS. They're thick, but they shatter like full-blown plastic. They explode. They're like, you can drop a PSA slab, it's probably not going to crack. It's got a little more give. SGCs, they don't crack as easily either. But those BGS ones, they're like a super hard plastic. I can't stand them.
It's almost like it's tempered, like a car window. You apply a lot of pressure at a very small point, the whole thing shatters.
Boom. Yeah. Exactly.
Versus throwing a bowling ball at it, nothing happens.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
but I hate the inner sleeve because it clouds the card. But I love it when you're cracking it out because it protects the card better. I don't feel as nervous when I'm cracking it out.
My hands were shaking because it is a very precise fit. So when I get those scissors going, I was like, really shaky with those scissors.
Oh, that's scary.
But I got it. Hey, it couldn't get worse than a 1. How I could have nipped a corner.
Exactly. You might as well have just sent it in the slab itself. But but if you were looking for the bump, right?
Yeah, I was.
Oh my God, that's a gamble. I feel like though too, because what if it was trimmed you didn't know, or it had rounded corners? But even what if like it was like something that they didn't catch and then they catch it? To me, that's just like scary too. Like it goes to authentic,
I don't like authentic cards. I was concerned about that because I think BVG, there is some to be said for them having encased cards that were authentic, not knowing. I mean, maybe I'm just making that up in my head. I thought years ago on the PSA forums, I would read stories. Oh yeah, BVG doesn't do a good job grading vintage. Altered cards get through. I just took a chance. It was just the risk I was willing to take because the card looked so damn good. And had it come back authentic, I probably would just cracked it out and maybe send it to SGC or would have sent it on the merry-go-round. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or you don't do the registry or anything, do you, Vince, with PSA?
No, I have the manual registry set, but I don't have a register because I don't know. I mean, I'm not interested in upgrading those cards at all. I mean, the grades I have, I fought hard to buy those cards when I bought them in those grades, and I don't need to see myself ranked again. I mean, I'd probably be in the lower 50th percentile of that. I mean, like of all the people on YouTube that have this card, mine might be the ugliest copy because that centering, it's the OC qualifier, obviously. And this card carries the most weight within that registry set. And so...
Wait, but is that a 7 OC?
No.
What is it?
No. It's
I couldn't tell.
A 1. Miscut.
A one miscut. Okay.
I'm not
What a
sure why
great,
it's
what a great
miscut.
image though. Look at the surface and the picture and everything.
It is clean. Yeah, it's clean.
Yeah.
There's creases. I'm not sure why it's miscut. Usually when I think of miscut, I think of like another card appearing on the card with the name, but I don't see any of that.
Maybe the back.
Yeah.
Even if it's cut off like a little of the ink or the little, it's probably, it looks like it's on the back there.
But I'm proud to own that card because I'm right. That's the best I could do, and I don't feel, it's just, that's at the time I purchased it. It was the right card at the right time at the right price. I think it was in February of 2019, and it was a baseball card exchange, and it was Sunday morning that I saw that on eBay. And I think I reached out to Steve. He responded immediately, Steve Hart, and he said, I think it was like listed for $10,000. And I said, all right, what's your off eBay price? And he said, well, I'll do $9,000 cash or $9,250 credit card. And so I didn't want to F around. I just put it on the credit card because I didn't want to go through and get the bank, whatever I need to, you know what I mean? I put on the credit card. And then if I didn't buy it then, I wouldn't own it today because now they're like 20.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds cheap.
And that's the most I've spent, and probably that we'll spend on a card. Probably, I don't know. It's a lot of money.
Heck yeah.
So, it came around a good. Again, I was just lucky. The timing, like the confluence of events for me to get the card, were just everything worked out. So, yeah, but it's ugly, without a doubt.
No, it isn't.
Dude,
there's no ugly ones of that kind.
You have a mantle 52. Yeah. Like, it's just, I have OC cards that I'm not going to sell that are pretty far off center, but there's some that I'm just like, man, I spent money on that. I spent time. I love that at the time, and it is what it is. Like, I'm keeping it. I have a 56 mantle, 8 OC. It's the same thing. Like, man, got a killer deal on it still. It's way more than what I paid, but I'm not gonna go through the process of selling that and trying to find another one. I have it. It's beautiful. I got it, and that's it. Done. Yeah.
Are you on the registry for anything? Because I don't like.
No.
They're really into that registry. They want to be like, they want to keep moving up the registry, and
I got cards from all different companies all over.
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Yeah. Even what you just said, I've started to do more of that. I go into SGC, and of course, if I get a BVG card, I bought it to crack out, but I will buy SGC cards and leave them in the slab. So I do like SGC in some cases. Sometimes the way the card looks in their slab is really nice. Nice, like just it presents really well in that black, encased sort of border they use. But generally, I'm mostly PSA. You can see.
PSAs are just slimmer. It's more like a card. I don't know. They're just sleek. The SGCs are so freaking big, and the number's like bigger than the card. Like, this is a 5. You can see it from the moon. I don't like. It's just that bothers me a lot, and I do agree with the black borders. They look good on some, but I struggle with that whole thing.
They look best with vintage. They don't look that good with modern. I don't know.
No, they don't.
Like ultra modern.
But they put the serial number on the thing, which is awesome. What it's numbered out of, which I think is really cool on the label, which I wish PSA would do.
Guys, I gotta show a little more fire here.
Oh yeah, keep them coming.
I picked up earlier this year and have never showed it. I haven't shown a soul. Well, actually, Dylan, I might have sent you this one. I don't know, but this one is you see a decent amount of these now. The 67 Venezuela tops, but I don't see too many of these guys. Of this guy right here.
Oh, finally,
the Babe.
Jeez, that is awesome.
And it's a nice looking 2 right there.
That is incredible.
Get out of here.
Look at that 2. And now you got the back there with a little paper loss, but still a pretty good back for these.
Whatever, yeah.
But man, I had to pounce on this one. Just I don't know. There's something about this that I just love. It's like an art piece. I love it.
Where? eBay?
Yeah, I think it was eBay. Yep.
Jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, those things were like really thin paper stock, right? I mean,
they're very not great paper quality at all, but the image is so cool on this. It's like
those are the only Venezuelan cards that I actually like. I think because the color, all the other tops ones, they're all faded.
They're all faded. Yeah.
I just want the tops version because it looks better, and I get the collector, You know, some people want the super rare in that, but I know I'll own one day. But man, it's got to be the right copy. And but that set, those pop.
Yeah, they pop, and that's probably as close, at least for a while, that I'll get to a Babe Ruth. I'm not going to get a playing days Ruth, like other than the Sanella Margarine one that I have, but I figured, you know, it's from '67. It's still a vintage card, so it's not playing days, but it's still for me.
Adam, you pull a 1.5 50 Tops Mantle out of the hat, you could get a playing days Ruth if you really try.
I was thinking the same thing. They're like
yeah, but I'd have to sell my 52 mantle. All my money's tied up now. All my money is tied up. It's in cards. I'm card rich.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You have to start selling like good stuff at some point.
Yeah. And then I'm getting to the point where I'm getting, if I'm going to keep selling, it's going to be ones that are going to be more painful, very painful to sell. So
I can't do it. I can't let go of anything. I should have sold during the whatever the run up, right? I should have, thinned out the collection then and there, but I just can't let stuff go. It's hard. Yeah. You get like an emotional attachment to your cards. It's like, no, don't go.
Like I got no problem selling the stupid Kevin Durant rookies I bought in the peak of the market, right? Because I'm like, I never wanted this card anyway. I was just being stupid. I thought like, oh, he's going to win a championship with the Nets. And like, I totally got off my lane, and so I sold those off long ago. Now, pretty much everything I have is stuff I don't really want to sell at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah. Just to collect and enjoy. Durant, basketball probably took the biggest slide.
Sure.
We're talking like 90% plus. I had, the Jordan rookie and the LeBron rookies and things like that. Or, the LeBron 9, I think it was like it peaked at $11,000, which is absurd.
Wow.
And now the 03 Topps Chrome LeBron 9 can be like had for $1,000, I think.
You mean the base card?
The base Chrome, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Kobe was close also. Yeah, these are just 9s. I mean,
I remember the Kobe Tops in a 9 was like $600 to $800, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You get like 20 of those in a box, because I was opening those boxes back then. There's like 0 basketball players. You get like 1 million base cards, and you get thousands of those in there.
It was. I made it's funny. I made a video right at the peak of those. I think it's my top basketball card collection, whatever. It's from early 2021. I'm sitting there going through this card. I said, "This card's worth what? This is ridiculous." I'm going through these cards. I'm giving the prices, and I had a Durant rookie. I have a Durant rookie. I bought it, the 08 Chrome, just base Bowman Chrome. I bought it for $3.25. Way a long time, like maybe 2015. It went down to like $90. And then it went to, I think, as high as like $4,000.
Oh my gosh!
And now it's down to like $400. So, basketball has, and the one of the most egregious examples might be the Topps Gold Shaquille from '92. That went to $10,000, and it's a '92 Topps card. Yeah, it was like $8,000 to $10,000 and it was like, oh my god! Now it's like $1,000. So it's still not inexpensive, but it went crazy. And I'm thinking, who bought these cards? And where are these people now?
Dude,
homeless?
The card show the card show on my island, there's like, during that peak of the basketball stuff, there's probably like 8 tables and 1 vintage guy. All of them were basketball people. None of those guys are at the shows anymore. It was just sad. Like there was like family setup and stuff, but it was like, what are you guys doing? Well, it was pretty wild to see. And I was just like, didn't even look at those tables. And it was like, man, what's going on right now? That's fascinating.
Yeah. Shouldn't have bought anything in 21 period. I took a little break and I picked it up in the middle of the year and I still got bent over a barrel. Looking back on it. Jerry Rice rookie PSA 8.5 for $1,200. Now it's
Dylan, you were very smart, man. Like I got caught up in it too. Like
I wasn't smart. I don't know. It wasn't a smartness. I don't like basketball. I don't like basketball cards.
That's true.
I mean, I don't not like basketball. I just don't like basketball cards anymore. And so it wasn't like I don't know. I thought it was just ridiculousness. And I mean, I saw it in baseball too at some point. Then baseball started clicking in, like Jeter rookies were like going through the roof. Like the base cards are not as high as what you were talking about, but they went way up. And I was like, what is happening right now? These were like $10 PSA 9s not very long, like a week ago.
Yeah.
It was really a sight to behold.
And then back then, during all that, guys, it would have been the good time to start buying vintage. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it hadn't clicked yet. It was like vintage is like the tail end of everything, and it's like this, you know. And now that's coming back down, following the snake around, right?
Yeah, I look
not
at
exaggerated, but
I look at VCP at DeLong Garrigs that I talked about earlier. That's one of my targets. You look back, 2019, 2020, they're like, $2-3 grand for like a PSA 2. Ish. Now PSA 2 is like two. Basically, all the key vintage is about 2 to 3x what it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago. The key vintage, and
the eye appeal thing is taking hold.
Even Trout update, Topps update Trout. I have one in a 10. I paid $300 for it. I had post-purchase anxiety and remorse after I bought it because it went down to like $200 and $275. Then it went to I think $5 grand. Just the base Topps, and now it's under $1 grand again. So, I feel like there's a lot of I don't know who those people were that bought that, and one of the things too that concerned me, and I mentioned this more than one occasion, is if I were to sell during that period of time, there was the risk of eBay's policy and PayPal's policy, return policy, very lax to non-existent, where you could sell a card in February, and in August you can get a return. Like a return order, and it's like, oh, seller not as described or some BS, right? You know what I mean? And you had to take it back, and
they changed that policy on graded cards.
Yeah, it's over now. Now you can't do anything.
They changed that at some point, and I was really happy as a seller.
Yeah.
Good, because if you're getting a graded card, you know what it is. There, no returning. This is like, dude, you got high res cam. You can look up the cert number. You can do all your research you want.
Yeah. Well, Meg's trying to get a $5,000 return 7 months later. Maybe you spent that $5,000.
Oh my gosh, you're sick to my stomach. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one hypothetical, and one of the reasons why I wasn't really too keen on taking advantage of the market. I thought, well, this is fun, and maybe I could sell, but I don't know. But now it's different. They've got that on lockdown, Dylan. You're right. You buy a card, you got like 3 days to decide, if there's an issue with it, and it happened with me. I bought a 68 Topps Pete Rose a little over a year and a half ago, and it came in, and it was like a double exposure on the eyes. I didn't pick it up in the scan, so it was like 2 sets of eyes. And right away, I went to eBay. I want to return it, and almost right away they said, no, you can't return it. Sorry. I listed it and sold it like within a day. I lost, I think, $20 on the transaction because, I had to pay the commission.
Yeah, of course.
I was glad I couldn't get rid of that thing fast enough because it was like, 2 sets of eyes.
I know that feeling. Yeah. Some things you can't catch until it's in hand.
Yeah.
And you have to put them back on and sell them right away and just take the loss, whatever, $20. It's like, it feels good when you get rid of it again. You're like, whoo, okay.
That's the last card I sold on eBay. That was that card. And I remember the buyer being like, hey, card looks great. Thanks so much. Like, hey man, you're welcome.
He'll see that later. He'll see that later if he joins you. Like, stares at his cards a little differently.
I since bought I bought one since that was much better. I bought it this year. I forget when, but yeah.
You found a centered 1968.
Yeah, 68 Rose. I kind of toyed the idea of doing Rose's run, but man, he's got too many freaking cards. And honestly, I don't really care for his cards much past 1980. He's a lot of his later cards. He's like fat, wearing the satin jacket, sitting there. This looks like a, you know what I mean? He's just like it's like an old guy sitting there. I just, it's like when I changed my scope in collecting, like I said, I don't want to do this. I want to go out and get all these, do this little tangential side project, whatever. Just want to focus on, instead of putting money into Rose cards, from 1980 to 89 and PSA 10 or whatever money that would be, let me put it towards something else, more substantial that, and takes up, it's less mass, right?
Yeah.
Like reducing mass.
Yeah.
Because other than Mantle, you don't really do any other player runs, right?
So no, I have one more. I have Nolan Ryan.
Oh, okay.
I actually did his run in its entirety for Topps, and then I got some Donruss and Fleers that I liked of his. Not all of them, but some of them. But I do have Nolan Ryan's run, and the hardest one for me to get there was the Topps Gold from 1994 and a PSA 10. I ultimately settled on a 9.5 SGC with the intent of maybe cracking that out to send it to PSA, just so they're all PSA graded, you know, to satisfy my OCD tendencies. But I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I do have Ryan, and man, Ryan had a lot of cards. I mean,
yeah, you did
a lot of cards.
Do you have this one, Vince, the 93 Finance Refractor? Nolan Ryan?
No, I don't. So I only focused on like the base cards.
Okay.
Or if there was a gold, I went with that version. Or if there was a Tiffany, I went with that version. Because those mid to late 80s, to add a little more gravitas to the collection, I didn't want to go with a regular old like 87 Topps. So I went with the Tiffany,
Totally.
you know.
Yeah.
And at the time, those were like $40 in a PSA 10.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, you know, now it's different. I mean, Ryan cards have kind of blown up a little bit, but yeah, I did Ryan, and then I did a little bit of a Reggie Jackson in a Yankees uniform from 77 to 82, and I got the Burger King in there from 77, and I did Bowman Chrome, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. I'm sorry, Topps Chrome from 96 to 2009 for Kobe, and I don't have the 09. And I did LeBron from 03 to 09. So I did those little mini runs of base Topps Chrome. And yeah, those cards went to the stratosphere too. Even like the second, third year ones were like ridiculous. Like a second year, I have LeBron's second year Chrome. Paid like $100 for it.
And you do Brady. You have a Brady rookie. I've seen that one, right? PSA 10, I believe, of the Bowman.
Yeah, I do. It's yeah, this one. A lot of people have this card. It seems like it's not a rare card. This one went to what, 25 grand at one point?
Yeah, another one that went to insane places and it's still coming down.
Yeah, it's like 5 grand maybe, or 4.
Yeah, is that the Chrome?
It's the Bowman Chrome, yeah.
Yeah, so I think around 4 or 5, something like that. Yeah.
So I paid $8.99 for it. Okay, so I'm still up.
You're still ahead.
Unrealized gains on paper, yeah. So
because one of the things I'm trying to do as we talk, like focus for next year, I'm trying to. This will be a lifelong thing, but I'm going to try to get every Tom Brady base rookie. I'm not looking for a certain grade or anything. Actually, the lower the grade on some of them, the better, because I'll save some money. But yeah, there's 43 different Tom Brady rookies base cards. So I got about 6 now, 6 or 7 of the base. So I don't have that one yet. So that's another one I need. There's so many I need that I'm going to try to like maybe knock off one every quarter of the year, something like that, one every 6 months, something like that. And by the time I'm dead, maybe I'll have close to all of them. We'll see.
So what's your target grade for the playoff contenders?
Yeah, as low as I can get. That doesn't look like garbage. You know, that's going to be like, that's like the 52 mantle of Tom Brady, you know.
Is that card expensive because it's rare? Because that set,
no, it's not rare.
Baseball as well, it wasn't that nice of a set. I think
there's thousands.
Like,
the one that sells for big money. There's a championship ticket that's numbered to 100. It's a parallel.
That's why there's no.
I'm never gonna get that one, but the base one, it's still an autograph. So it's autograph. He autographed. I think they said there's like over 1,000 of the base. So they're out there. You can get it any time, but it's just a matter of, you know, maybe it will keep coming down, hopefully for me, and I'll probably wait as long as I can on that one. So, and then there's the SP Authentic, which is another big one that, again, a lot of these, like you can get a PSA 6 or a 7 and it doesn't look that much different than a 10 in these cards. So as long as it's, you know, some of them have the borders where I'm going to look for good centering. Same thing that I do with vintage. So that will be a lifelong thing for me. But I picked up one of these. This was one I needed recently. This is kind of a sneaky one, the Don Russ PSA 9, and it's serial number to 1325. So again, they're out there, but this is kind of a tougher one to find centered too. So I got that one in 2023.
Not a good time to buy Brady. His cards are, I don't think they've ever been low. I mean, they're as low as I think, and how much lower they can go, I should say. And you know he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So at some point that appreciation will, you know, kind of bring things back up. So get them while you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I've one off the topic question for Vince. I know I'm sure you played video games. You still play video games. I've seen you play video games. Original NES. What would your top 2 video games that you played ever? Original.
Probably Baseball Stars.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the original RBI Baseball, and I would say Double Dragon.
Oh yeah, Double Dragon is sick.
Yeah.
I would put Baseball Stars my number 1 too. For sure.
I love Baseball Stars. So you can make your own teams and names, and that was kind of ahead of its time.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And that's why I love, like, another reason I love Babe Ruth and DiMaggio and all those guys are on those teams. They're like generic versions, but they're on there.
Yeah.
Hit a home run every time you come up.
Yeah. So those would be my 2 probably. Yeah. Those come to mind immediately, so they must be my favorites.
Yeah.
So I played a lot.
Mike Tyson Punch-Out was my favorite.
Punch-Out was sick.
I was the only kid in my neighborhood to beat Mike Tyson. I was a legend in like.
Wow. Yeah, I never beat him. I could get to him tomorrow if I wanted, but can't beat him.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking beating him, man. Sweating, your fingers are slippery, and you just I beat him. Ultimately, I beat him. It was all timing. Yeah,
that's insane. Yeah,
Vince, are you going to the National? Are you planning in Cleveland or
the National?
Have you made that decision yet?
So here's the thing: if I decide I want to go, I already booked hotel before the hotels recognize it's an event pricing and things like that. So I actually booked a hotel near, yes, I have the hotel booked. Whether or not I cancel or continue remains to be seen. But in case I want to go, let me get the hotel out of the way. I can always cancel it. Right. And I would probably just drive. It's about 7-8 hours for me if I were to drive.
That's easy.
Cleveland. Nice. Yeah, it's one straight shot across I-80, I believe, 84 to 80 or something. Anyway, yeah. So we'll see, Adam. Haven't decided. I have the hotels booked just in case. So
nice. Yeah, I'll be a last minute decision probably if I go. I'll get some hotel like an hour away or something, and but I'll find my way there.
You should do. I mean, honestly, if you think the chance you might want to go, you should book the hotel. You can always cancel the hotel.
Yeah, I know.
Right. Save you the hassle and the expense. But we'll see. I mean, I'd like to go. But I find like these shows. I've been to, I went to the One National. I feel like people just mark their stuff up. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, did they?
Last National was reasonable. I felt they were all working with everybody last National.
Yeah.
They did a trade with a guy. So I think this year, I mean, dude, it's a buyer's market, so to speak, right? I mean, they got to be selling stuff.
Yeah, some people just they don't. I feel like even I still see on eBay some people that haven't gotten the memo that it's 2023.
Yeah. Oh, of course. They just have them on there. And there's our booths that you just walk right by. You see the prices on like a couple cards. I just continue walking. They're way out of the stratosphere. It's like.
Sorry, guys. Before we leave, I got 2 more quick ones I want to show because it's kind of like what I'm doing next year too. When I buy my vintage, I'm going with a lot of these guys that I want to have at least 1 card. Some guys that go like 4. I create rules for myself, Vince, because I have no self-control without some sort of artificial guardrails. So I've limited myself to 4 from certain players in their playing days. And like this guy right now, I'm limiting myself to 1. So this is like a cheap Frank Robinson, PSA 459 tops. Just like for me, this is like one of the best looking cards. And it's a lot cheaper than his rookie. And I got a Frank Robinson card. So I'm trying to go this route with a lot of these guys that, like I said, I got a lot of my money tied up in some of these other players. So I'm going this route with a lot of these guys. And then with basketball, I got this, I think it was like $40. John Havlicek, Hall of Famer, PSA 7. Vintage basketball is so cheap compared to baseball, unless you're going like crazy high grades and stuff. But perfect looking card for like 40 something bucks of all-time great.
Yeah, and those basketball cards were printed in far less quantity than the baseball cards of that era. So there's that going forward as well. The pop reports are nowhere near that of the baseball, of the same era, 70 to 79 or 70, whatever, But I'm there with you. I did a little vintage basketball too, pre-COVID. I think it's a good buy. fun to collect. The big, Dr. J, or the big Fro, and those classic players of that era. Bill, Dave Cowens, and oh god, what was who's the guy that has the weird? He played for the Celtics. He had like the perm. He always says weird stuff on the air.
Bill Walton.
Bill Walton, yeah.
Yeah, I picked up his rookie card this year. I picked up his and I got all into Walton because I watched the documentary on him that they did with ESPN, and I recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you're not a fan, you might appreciate him even more. After watching it, he's just a unique guy, man. But he's like a good guy. So yeah.
But a lot of fun players. George Gervin comes to mind as somebody I neglected to get in time before the pandemic hit. 73, George Gervin, the Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 73? I think it was 73. Yeah. So that was one I was targeting, and then I didn't get it in time. Now it's probably come back down to earth. I haven't looked in a while, but that's another cool rookie card from that era. So yeah.
Well, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Vince, it's getting late your time, man. I feel bad keeping you up this late. So
what time is it? I can't even see we're
already over an hour. It's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
10:06.
10:06 your time.
Oh my god, it may as well be midnight.
I go to bed at like 8:30, so I don't know how you guys all do it.
I go to bed pretty early.
I'm good. I'm glad you cut it short. It's not like Silver Jacket Fire where you start yakking and yakking. My God, that guy goes on.
I'm pretty much at an hour. I gotta cut it off, man. For me, this is for me.
our top 40 is like the Jerry Lewis telethon.
Oh, it's so good, though. It's so good.
I love when you do those.
It's so good.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. Episode 24, last one of the year. Looking forward to 2024, Vince. I hope we can do more stuff. We got to get you out into the YouTube verse a little more. At least, it'd be nice to see you. So
next up is the Two Guys, One Hobby with Wade Boggs fan. And
sick.
Oh, nice.
They asked me to do it. They asked me to do it. And I was traveling in California, and then I got COVID, and then I was like, okay, so that's the next thing. So I'm glad I got this out of the way. I owed Adam for a while, and so I got this satisfied for now. Next up is those guys, and then maybe Joe and I will think of something. I think Rated Rookie wants to get together and do something. That'd be fun.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Dylan, you're getting a request for. So last week I jumped off because I hit my time limit. I hit my hour. I'm like, I'm tired. I gotta go. And Dylan went on his channel, did extra innings, and immediately started getting way more views than our show. So clearly, we know what the the thing that's hurting our show is me right here. So
I think people want to see a train wreck. That's what they're waiting for. We were drinking a decent amount, just just how it goes. Tonight I'm not. My wife.
No extra innings.
Well, how many tuned in? How many do we have in the room?
25. Right, it keeps growing. So if we kept going, we'd get more, but we don't have the stamina for that.
We're too old. We got young
kids.
Old. Yeah, exactly.
Too old.
Yeah.
All right.
Vince, it was really nice to meet you on this. Super stoked, man.
Yeah, Pond Koi Turtle. Who knew?
Who knew, right? Secret identity.
Great follow on Instagram. Great follow.
Yeah.
Makes you feel relaxed. All right, guys. That's it. Vince, I'll talk to you hopefully in the near future.
Sounds good, fellas.
See you guys.
Good night.
Later, guys.